the human race can do without a whole lot of things, but of course it has survived because it has the human race. So we still have the human race, and the connections between us that are happening are really important. I think the fact that we can only connect virtually right now is just nature's way of saying, okay, you guys were sitting behind your screens not connecting. We're going to let you know exactly what that means to not be in contact with human beings. And it's going to develop a real hunger in us for physical connection. So I think that's a really interesting thing that's going to be happening as a result of it. What my job is right now, I have a book coming out in May. It's called Glad to Be Human. And I have been thinking this way my whole life, and it hasn't been as popular as I think it's going to be. I am glad to be human. This is a book of essays, one of which won the Pushcart Prize. The last book, the last essay in the book is called Glad to Be Human. It's all these reasons I'm glad to be human, which still exist. Now, what I was gifted with this morning is the realization that, when you say Anthropocene, is that how you pronounce it, by the way?
Well, that's really one of the funny things about it is it's such a new idea that we've entered an age of our own making. That's human. That the British say Anthropocene and we say Anthropocene. We haven't even figured out how to pronounce it yet.
Well, whatever it is, if it's the human time, I think we've gotten a whole lot of negative press, understandably, because there are all kinds of disruptions and there were all kinds of, but as human beings, there is so much to treasure in what we do. And I looked at, we're all kind of checking these headlines and going, ooh, recession, ooh, depression, oh, what is it? And I want to put out there a new definition of what this time period is. And instead of referring it to it as the Great Depression or I think this is the period of the Great Compassion.
Ooh, I like that. Wow.
Because the thing that is already opening up in it is a flood of compassion, the likes of which the human race has never seen, because we've never been quite this connected before. And as we're going to witness suffering. Yes, we're already witnessing suffering, but we are going to witness the very most powerful response from human beings, because nobody wants this, and it's all over the world. We are realizing we have to respond with compassion. And so I really do have great hopes for this. I was thinking this the other day, I was thinking, good Lord, I'm looking around, it's like everything is melting. All of our systems are melting, whether it's business or school or whatever. And so I thought, well, all right, what's that? And I'm a poet, so of course I think in metaphor. And I went, well, it was only a couple of years ago in my work as an educator that I discovered that when a caterpillar goes into the chrysalis, first of all, the caterpillars, the larvae, consume, right? We're all familiar with that. So it goes into the chrysalis and actually turns liquid. Mm-hmm. The caterpillar dissolves, it becomes liquid. All the parts for the butterfly are floating around in there, but it's still liquid for us at this juncture. But I honestly believe that what will arise in the human race will be something much more winged in consciousness. And I'm, it's tough. We have to go through this, but we will. I think compassion will bring us all the way through.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's
fantastic.
I love it. That is so super tweetable also.
Yeah.
I want to break this digital barrier and give you a big hug right now. You're just a few miles away, so I could cheat and do that.
I'll hug you.
What a rich, wonderful thought. You're also making, the other thing you said, I want to amplify a little bit, was when you said that nature is looking at us. We've all been on our screens, but when each of us thinks of most of what we do there, it's not really connecting. The systems we're surrounded by were programmed to stimulate us or aggravate us or validate us.
Mm-hmm.
And those are all passive. They're like receptive. They're not really conversation. They're not really connecting. So in a way,
Mm-hmm.
we're being forced to grow up a little bit around the real use of this system that that's a big part of our lives already, but we haven't really adequately realized the power of it, I think, to connect. I mean, I'm feeling pretty emotional right now based on what you said, and you're not sitting next to me. So I don't know, Chuck and Jonathan, what do you feel about what was just said?
Well, I want to add to the story. It reminds me of something that I've often done with children, a little story about a reluctant caterpillar who emerges from the little egg and has all of these colorful companions, and together they enjoy devouring leaves and swinging on their silk threads. And then one by one, they begin to roll up into the leaves and to create the little chrysalis. But one is so enamored with being out and about, eating leaves and swinging, it's afraid to go into that state, into that kind of sequestered, if you will, quarantine state. And then it sees the others breaking out with gloriously colorful wings, and they have got these incredibly long tongues. And as I do this, I'm having the children, and often they're very young, 3 or 4, act out the story. But then the story always needs a tension, a little bit of a conflict, and the others have to gather around this reluctant one and kind of take it step by step to roll into that again cocoon, and to let that liquefication. I too, as a storyteller, when I learned that's what literally happens, oh man, agonizing, like
it's so
how
bizarre.
could that possibly physically be, there's someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson who can explain it, but we need that little bit of encouragement to go into what we're into now, in order to, maybe we're going to liquefy, and then we're going to all emerge into this era of great compassion as the butterfly that we're really meant to be, where we can visit flowers and sustain each other, in part by our flight and our beauty.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah.
I think we're giving caterpillars a bad rap here.
I want to come see you. I want to see your act.
No, I just love hearing what you guys saying. I mean, it's as a comedian, we tend to be observers, but we also tend to be a bit more cynical, where we should be skeptical. Cynicism tends to take root where healthy skepticism should be. And that's just an occupational hazard. But hearing you guys talk, I have to say, inspires me. So that's a great thing. I mean, that's a great thing. And it's exactly what you're talking about. I think also, too, we have been using the connection of electronic meetings, social media, screens as a means of averting our gaze to another human being.
Hey, this is good. You got to make a little song out of that little rap.
So I think we've been hiding. So behind that. Now, here's what's happening right now, and it's we're in week 1 of this.
Yeah.
And you're already seeing people with the need to get on the screen, not as a means of escape, not as a means of disconnection, not as a means of, I don't want to be around another person, let me do, but as a means of like, hey man, I need to talk to somebody. Hey man, I actually do need you. I actually do need you. And so maybe what will happen after that is that realization of the need may translate into a greater physical connection with one another when this is over. Maybe. I don't know.
I think so.
I think so. The great compassion and the great connection.
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah.